The classroom lights hummed, a low, buzzing parody of life. They were one more low-grade frequency, one more low-grade lie, in a world built entirely on distortion. Elijah Eli Reed, 35 years old and already exhausted to his soul, stood before his high school history class. But he wasn't teaching history. He was teaching a fairy tale. He was teaching the American dream, a carefully edited collection of half-truths and manufactured victories designed to keep the engine of exploitation running smoothly. He was a cog in the machine he despised, an educator forced to guide his students toward the very distraction that would guarantee their future failure. No one prepares you for life in no way, shape, or form, he thought, the words of his own hidden manuscript burning behind his eyes. He watched the faces of his students. They were smart, vibrant, and utterly unprepared. They were chasing the good money, the high grades, the college acceptance letters, all the tokens of what he now knew was an illusion. Eli could see the invisible chains forming around them, ready to bind them to unnatural living practices, ready to set them up for the cycle of, quote, pain, bloodshed, death, and unbearable mental, physical, and spiritual abuse. He felt the heavy, crushing weight of the lie he was perpetuating. It wasn't just a career, it was a soul trap. Eli was an honest man forced to sell ignorance, and the internal contradiction was killing him. 3 days later, the trap snapped shut. The principal called him into the office, the air thick with polite, corporate disapproval. Eli had committed the cardinal sin. He had tried to teach a true thirst for truth instead of compliance. "Mr. Reed," the principal said, adjusting his tie, "your passion is admirable, but your curriculum choices, they are divisive. We need to prepare these students for the real world." Eli almost laughed. The real world? The one where every institution, from the media to the schools, is set up for self-destruction? The one where knowledge of self is systematically replaced by the pursuit of empty success? He didn't fight the firing. It was a relief, a confirmation. He had chosen the righteous path, and the system, predictably, had spat him out. He was in a lose-lose situation, damned if he stayed, damned if he left. But leaving gave him freedom. Leaving gave him a voice. That night, Eli sat at his old kitchen table, the manuscript of his book Untold Truths spread out before him. The paper felt heavy, saturated with years of observation and despair. It was his manifesto, his final act of resistance. It named the lie, exposed the engineered nature of suffering, and laid out the chilling, verifiable truth that the world was set up to ensure a negative life cycle for his people. He stared at the final, desperate plea he'd written months ago. Am I alone? My thoughts, my mind, and my actions. Can you identify with me? Uploading the book was his declaration of war. He knew the cost. The systemic forces, the 99% who control everything, would react. They would try to discredit him, isolate him, and silence him. But Eli was ready to pay the ultimate price. He was ready to die to experience righteousness continuously. He opened the upload portal. His fingers hovered over the publish button. This wasn't just hitting send on a file. It was detonating a lifetime of suppressed truth. Eli took a deep, shuddering breath. "No one prepares you for life," he whispered to the empty room. "But I'm preparing them for the truth." He clicked. In the first 5 minutes, nothing happened. In the next 5, the comments began to flood in. By the end of the hour, Untold Truths was a global contagion, sparking outrage, denial, and, most terrifyingly, recognition. Eli Reed had finally made his stand. And now, the hunt for the truth, and for him, had begun.